everyone, it's Caroline here from Aussie Cards and Crafts, and today what I would like to do is to show you how to make this layered Christmas card. Now this is the very first one that I did. As you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers, the back one being obviously solid, and then you cut the other 4 layers out with a die set. So that was the first one. The second one I decided to put it into a box, which is what I'm going to do today. I made a few mistakes with this one. This one is a lot better. What I did with this one is I actually put lights in it as well, and I don't know whether you'll see them with the bright lights. Oh yeah, there we go. You can probably see that I have put lights in there as well. Once again, I haven't finished this one because it's not exactly as I wanted it. So we're going to go third time lucky today, and I'm going to see if I can get this as I like it and put a card on the back of it. It will be in a shadow box like this, and I will show you how to make that. I'll also go through how I've put these together and how I've blended them all as well. So there will be a little bit of fast forwarding on the video today, because I'm sure you don't want to just see me doing all the blending and sticking, so there will be a bit, but I'll try and keep it as short as I can, but there is quite a lot to do today. So first things first, what we need is 5 pieces of white card, and the white card will measure 5 inches by 5.5 inches. And you need 5 of those. You also need the set of the layered Christmas scene. Now, I do have these on my website at www.aussiecardsandcrafts.com.au. It comes as a set of 4 dies, and you layer those on top of each other using mounting tape. So let me just go through and show you. There's a couple of things that I want you to be aware of when we're putting these through the die cutting machine. So first things first, I'll just grab my notes over there. What we need to do is along the, let me just grab my pencil here. So along the bottom, I just need to, I'll do them singly. So on 4 of these, we need to measure about 5/8 of an inch. So, or should I say, no, probably about 3/8. No, half an inch will go. We'll go half an inch, and we will just draw a very, very, very light pencil line on those 2 marks. Okay, so as you can see, on 4 of these pieces, I have just made a very, very light pencil mark on right on the bottom at half an inch up. So the reason we do this is so that we can get them pretty much lined up. So if you then put your die down in the center, so you can pretty much eyeball that, but put it on that line, and I'm just going to use a little bit of tape here just to hold it in position, and you do this with each of the 4 dies. Okay, so that will then make sure that they are lined up when you come to put them together. Right, so here we go. What I need to do is run these through the die cutting machine, and I have my my plates here, so I will run them through and be back in a moment. Okay, so we'll go with our biggest one first. Oh no, we'll go with our smallest one first. So just gently take the tape off. And you will see, as you push out the card, Just be gentle as you do it, because you don't want to damage the pine trees that are standing up there. Okay, so there's one, and I'll go ahead and do the rest of them, and then I'll show you how we're going to put them together. Right, okay, so now they're all separated, so we have 4 individual pieces. Now we start off with the back one, then which is the smallest one. The next size up, you will see, and this is why we measured that line along here and put them all on the same line, so that they all do line up when they're together. There's the third one, and then here's our top one. Okay, so that's how it will go, but there will be a little bit of space in between each of them, because I'm going to mount them with double-sided tape on foam tape, so you'll get just a little bit in between. So what we now need to do is we need to get a piece of paper, and we need to do some blending. So first off, I'm going to start with the back. Now, the reason I'm starting with the back, as you can see, we've got a light that is on our second one down, just there. Okay, so on this, it's really nice if we can actually show that that is lighting up the area. So what I tend to do is I start with my yellow blending. So I put that over the top just to start with. I then will get my yellow, which is just here. And I use just normal makeup brushes. And this is a mustard seed one, this one. So I'm going to grab some yellow and put it just there a little bit first. But the reason we need this one is because we need to make sure it is in the right spot. So I'm going to lift that up, and pretty much there is where I'm going to want my light. So I will start with the yellow and bring it out like so. Now if we put our lamp over the top there, you can see that that is basically where the light is going to shine, and that's all we need from the yellow. What we now need to do is we now need to work around the side, and for that I'm going to use purples, blues, and lavender type colours. So I'll just put that away, and I'll get my blending brush. And what I'd like to see, I think, is closer to here and around here, I'm going to do more of a purple. I don't want it that dark, so that one's not working very well though. That's too purple. Let's get rid of that. Okay. That one will be fine. So basically what I'm going to do is just, don't want a huge amount, because mainly going to be is, it's night obviously because the lights are on, which is why we've got the yellow there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a blue, a dark blue, which is it's one of the Jim Holtz Distress Inks. It's Stormy Sky, and I'm going to use that for the rest of it, and I'm going to blend in over where I've done that. So okay, so there's my first one. So this little one is going to sit on there, and we're going to blend that one in a moment. The next one is going to be this one, and that's going to sit there. And then this one is going to sit here. Now, if we put those together, you can see that part of my yellow is actually going onto this part just here. So what I am going to do, and I still should have enough on the actual brush, is I'm actually going to, oops, there's a hair on it, have a look at that. That's it. Okay, so that will be another one that we're doing, but just to blend this out a bit, I'm just going to put that over it again. Right, so we now have our second layer there. Our third layer will actually have, sorry, our third layer will be that one, and then this one, which will be standing up, will then have that light deflecting on there. So what we now need to do is we need to go to our back layer, and we'll put that aside to dry, and now we need to blend the rest of this one. So the one that I have chosen for the first and the back one is a forest moss. So I'll grab another brush and I'll grab some forest moss, and you can see that comes off fairly dark to start with. So just be careful when you're doing your trees, because you don't want to damage them. They are quite delicate, but they all need just a little bit of colour on them. And then coming out, we just need to blend around the light, just blend that in, and we might bring the yellow out again in a moment to blend that in properly. Okay, so there we go. There are our layers that we're going to now put together. As you can see, the top, the second and the third layers, I didn't really go to the edges. I don't really need to, because they're going to be covered up. Okay, so the bottom one I did, but there we go. And then the top one has to come right out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go and get my Wink of Stella in black. And I'm going to colour that in black, so just bear with me. Okay, now what I'd like to do is I want to put some glitter on all my trees. Now this is going to take a little bit of time, but I think it's going to be well and truly worth it when you see the outcome. So what I've got here is I've got a I've got a very fine applicator, and I think that's got a hole in it. No, it hasn't yet. It's a brand new one. So, and I just need to keep it as fine as I possibly can. So that should do it. Yep. Because I don't want a huge amount of glue. What I would like to do is I'm going to use, I'll just fold that over. That can glue itself down. What I'd like to do is just put a little bit on each of these trees, and I'm going to cover it with a fine glitter. Okay, so it's very much a pearlescent type glitter, and then let them dry. So I'll do this first one, and then I'm going to speed up so that you can actually see exactly what I'm doing. There you go. You can just see the hint of the glitter on it, and I think that that is going to look gorgeous. It's not, because I don't have any quick grab glue at the moment, I'm having to use a different glue. But if you've got a quick grab glue that you've got, I would tend to use that rather than what I'm using here. Okay, so as you can see, it is a fairly long process to actually get that done. I'm just popping these dies away so they can be out of my reach. But yeah, it's a relatively long process to do that, but I think it just adds to it. And I think you'll be happy with it. So there we go. So let's pop those away. So now it's a case of putting the first part of the card together. Okay, so we've got our, oopsies, my lamppost getting caught on my trees. Okay, so we've got the smallest one, and don't forget the smallest one goes on the back. Okay, so the way you do this is you layer them up with double-sided tape. Now, I had to go out and run out and grab some more, but you do it with double-sided tape, and you put it all around the outside. And this is why when we did the initial cutout, I asked you to measure up 1/2 inch so that we could get them all lined up. The first one that I did, I didn't allow for the tape. Where is it? There it is. I didn't allow very much for the tape, and I did find it difficult to get the tape on. And I had a thicker tape at that stage. So I think the 1/2 centimetre or 5mm tape is just fine. And you go all the way around the edges of it. Okay, so as you can see, I've got all of my pieces now that have got the double-sided tape on it. Not double-sided tape, sorry, mounting tape on it. And I'm pretty happy with that. So this is quite heavy on the tape because it's got to be, really does have to be mounted up. So it's not the type of card that you would give, everybody. This is the card for that special person that really appreciates them and would love to see something like this. Okay, so working from the back, now don't forget that is our back with our light. I'm now going to peel off the tape and put that one on there. I'm then going to put the next one just there. I'm then going to put the third one on, and then I'm going to put my final one on just there. Okay, so bear with me. Once again, I'm going to have to speed it up because I really and truly don't want this to be too long. So that's why there's a lot of speed ups. Okay, so there we go. I hope you can see the glitter. I'll bring it up a little bit closer. I hope you can see the glitter that is on the trees. It just, it really does add something to it. What I now need to do is to make the box such as this to go around it. Now, if you're wanting to put lights like I have done here, let me switch that on for you. So you can see that I have got lights, and what I have done is I have mounted those lights behind every single layer, and I've had them coming out at one corner so that when I put a backing on this, I can then have my card sitting up like that, and I can actually tape this to to the back of the card, and people can switch it on and off as they need to. That's if I decide to finish this one. I wasn't happy with my snow, which is why I've done the snow this way this time. Okay, so next thing we need to do is we need to pop that aside because that part is finished. Okay, so now we've done this part, we now come to the stage where we need to put a box around our card. So I needed to stop the video and actually work out the size for this. So what I've done, and you might be able to follow this, you might not, but I'll quickly go through it with you. Our card is 5 inches across there and 5.5 inches down the side. Okay, so we've got 5 inches there. Okay, I'll see if I've got a pen, it might show a little bit better. Okay, let's try this. So this is 5 inches across there. Okay, so that's, and it's 5.5 inches down here. So what we then need to do is we need to measure. We've got to have an extra 1/2 inch because that's where our card finishes. So we're going to have a frame. So the bottom of our frame, we are going to have a 1/2 inch, okay, across there. So that is that first 1/2 inch there. The second 1/2 inch is going to be the side. Okay, so that's that one and that one. The third one is going to be the top. The fourth one is going to be what's in the side there. And the fifth one is going to be laying flat right against that. So basically you need to allow an extra 2.5 inches both sides. So you've got 5 inches there, you've got 2.5 there and 2.5 there. So that will then be 10 inches plus you need to allow about 1/16 of an inch so that you can actually put your picture in, just to allow a little bit of movement there. So 1/16 of an inch. So your piece of paper needs to measure 10 and 1/16. Oops, 16th, not 1/6, 16th, just there. For this side down here, we need to do the same thing. We've got 5.5 inches there, plus we've got to add another 2.5 inches both ends. So we've got another 5 inches. So 5.5 plus 5 is 10.5 plus 1/16. So that will be 10 and 9/16. Okay, so they're the sizes that we've got to cut our paper. Now, because I want, on mine it is directional, so I want my wood grain to go up and down. So I've actually cheated here a little bit, and I know that my 10 and 9/16 must be along this edge here. So I'm going to grab my cutting board. My blade keeps coming off of this. Bit of a nuisance, but never mind. It still works fine. So I want 10 or 9/16 along that edge there. So 10, that's 10.5. It's only got 1/8 measurements on my machine here, but I know just to go in between the 10.5 and the 10 and 5/8, and that will give me 10 and 9/16. Okay. And the other size we've got is 10 and 1/16. So 10 and 1/16. So it's between the 10 and the 1 and 10 and 1/8. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to do some scoring. Now with our scoring, what we need to do is we score I want a 1/2 inch frame, so I'm scoring at 1/2 inch all the way down, 1 inch, 1.5 and 2. I'm then going to turn it around 90 degrees and I'm going to do the same. and you're going to do this on all 4 sides. Okay, so when you get to that stage, you will see that you have got a square inside here. Okay, so what we now need to do is we now need to, and I'm just going to cheat on my other bit here. We need to put some other marks on 2 sides. Now, what we need to do, we've done the 2-inch one all the way down. We need to go another 1/2 inch, so 2.5 inches, but only into that second score line. Okay, then you come around the other side. So you've got this here, so you're going to be doing it, and then you go 2.5 only down to that second score line. What I'm going to do is turn it over and just making sure I've got the right one. Yep. So if I turn it over, because it's an odd size, just do the same thing again. Just a score line at the 2.5 mark down to that second score line. Turn it around the other way again and do the same thing again. So 2.5 inches down to that second score line. So if you have a look, you've got 1 score line, 2, 3, 4. Then you've got a little score line there, another little score line there, 1 there, and 1 there. Okay, so that's all the scoring out of the way. Now, where you've actually got these little score lines, what we need to do is we need to cut down to that second score line. You will see that I'm going to draw this actually so that you can actually see where I'm going. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down that first score line, that little score line we did last. I'm then going to go across, okay, to that 3rd score line. I'm then going to cut down to the 4th score line, and then I'm going to take this whole piece out, cutting along that score line. Okay, so we'll do the same again this side. So we're going to cut down on that 2.5 inch score line to the second score line. I'm going to go across. I'm then going to go down to the 4th score line, and then I'm going to take that whole piece out. Okay, and then you do exactly the same on this side. So that is how your page is going to look. Okay, now comes the magical part. With all your score lines, you need to fold and burnish them. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to put some tape on that edge and that edge. Okay, so I'm going to use my 1/2 inch tape here because that is the correct size, and just making sure it's sitting properly. So we then take that off, and then we fold. That is at the 1st score line there, the 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th one's right around the back. So we've got it like this. Okay, I'll do the same on that side. And then we're just going to fold it all the way in. And if you bring that back, you then have that sitting perfectly. So I'll show you again. Just put tape on this piece here. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, fold it in half, put tape on that part that is closest to the center of your box. Okay, take the top off. fold the whole thing in. Okay, bring it back, and there you've got your two sides of your boxes. With this one, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to, well, nearly the same thing anyway. We're going to put tape on this piece here, and we're going to put tape on this piece here. Now, what you might like to do beforehand is just cut in just a little bit on both edges so that it doesn't catch. So you're only taking a slither off on that very first section. So just here, there's our first score line. You just take, I'll go in the other way. There's our first score line. You just take a tiny, tiny piece off, just so that it doesn't catch when you're folding it over. So, once again, fold it in the halfway position, put your tape on, take the topping off, and then make sure that make sure that this sticky part is along that this edge here is along that first score line there, and then fold it down. Okay, and then you'll see that your other pieces will fit in there. So to show you again, I will put my tape along here. Take the top off. And then along this very first one, this very first score line in there, you need to make sure that this edge goes along that score line. Okay, and once it does, you can fold it over. And there we go. There you have your box. Now, to secure the corners, you're just going to need a little piece of glue, a little bit of glue. So I'm going to use my glue here, and you only just put a tiniest bit on the corner there, because that will spurt out otherwise. So just pop it down. You might need to hold it for a minute. And you can see we've got a beautiful frame there. So just a little bit more. And what we now need to do is we now need to put our card in there. Okay. There we go. And I did want it the other way, so I still did do it wrong. Never mind, it really doesn't matter. But there is our frame around our box. Now, for our backing, we're going to need some more card, but because the card is actually bigger than normal, we are going to need to do it in two pieces. So that's one piece. So what we're going to need is we're going to need one card that measures the width of, which is 6 1/8. So we need to get a piece of card that is 6 1/8. And then we are going to measure that down. So that is now going to be, my ruler there, 6 and basically 6 1/2, just over 6 1/2, 6 and 9/16. So I'm going to make this one 6 9/16. Should be there. And then the next piece that I need is going to be the same or practically the same size. So as you can see, this is actually quite heavy on card. So we now need to do the same width as this. So let's use this as our gauge. So we need to do the same width, which is 6 1/8. But what we need to do on this side, okay, so that will go just there. We need to give this 1/2 inch more. So we need to make this, let's just say 7. And along here is where we are going to just put a score line. So I've just taken any measurement there, but I'm going to put a score line there because this is where we're going to attach the two pieces together. So we'll bring that across and burnish it. And then what we will do is we will attach that with double-sided tape there, and then we will attach that to our card, so that eventually what we will end up with is I really do need a bigger craft room. So let's that will glue on there, and there we have our card. Now what I will also do is I will also do a sentiment, and I will pop that on there as well, and obviously I will stamp something in there when I'm ready to give it away, but I won't do the sentiment on the video right now because I think it's probably taken up enough time already, but I will be doing a sentiment, and the picture will actually show a sentiment once I've done it. Okay, thank you very much for joining me today. It has been a bit of a mammoth one. I knew it was always going to be a big one when I saw the card itself, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. I think it will look lovely once I've got my sentiment on it. As I say, it's not the type of card you would give to everybody. It is something that is a very special card that people are going to, want to put up on their mantelpiece and probably keep up. As I said, the last one that I did, and I haven't finished this one yet because I wasn't actually happy with the snow that I did, but I did put lights in, and it's really easy. You just have that, the seed lights that you get, you just have the cord coming out of the very corner, and then you attach this to the back of the card. Okay, so that they can get into the batteries if they want to, but you then attach this either however you want to the back of the card so that they can switch it on, switch it off as they like. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I hope you've enjoyed it. The stamps are available. I do still have, I think I've got 4 still left at this stage, and today it's the 22nd of November. So if you're watching this in the new year, you'll probably will have missed out, but I think I have 4 of these left at the moment. They really are a beautiful card. It's, as I said, it takes a bit of doing, but it's well worth it in the end, especially for those very special people in your life. If you're not a member of our Facebook page, please go on over and join. It's the Aussie Cards and Crafts. If you are interested in getting the die, please have a look on on my website, which is www.aussiecardsandcrafts.com.au. First in best dressed, I'm afraid, because there is only 4 of them left. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon with a different creation. Bye.